What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the 92nd edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast, featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm your Jack Mankel.
I'm your tire changer Cam.
And I am your gas man Cam.
And we got partially heavily asphalt-based episode for you, along with a little bit of a mid-season check-in for dirt sprint cars. So we'll have a little bit of everything from dirt to asphalt, along with some news, and then we will just briefly touch on a few big races that we're looking for this coming week. But before we get started, fellas, how we doing?
Tired.
Yeah. Tired's an understatement, I think. Wounded, bad.
That's a good way to put it. Yep.
Wounded, I think, is how I would state the situation. Yeah, that was quite the week, though.
Yep.
But no, got to see a little race and got to hang with the boys. It was a great week. Really only rained one day.
Yep.
So can't complain too much about that. But, well, let's go ahead and jump into some racing, just as we always do. And we're going to start right in the middle of the week over at Slinger for the Slinger Nationals. So we had boots on the ground for that one. Cam and I were there. So where do you want to start?
I think for one would be car count and the group of drivers that we had. For one, we had 31 cars there this week, so we actually sent some guys home. And we had mentioned it earlier in the week, and we mentioned it in the preview as well, that we were worried about not having the nationally touring guys there, and we had mainly the Midwest guys. But we knew it was going to be a great show nonetheless. And I think for the most part, we got a pretty good show out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, whatever it is, however it shakes out, it's a Slinger National, so it rains.
Yep. Never fails.
And it rained pretty hard there for a little while. We were actually a little bit nervous about losing the track. But we got 50 laps in, high 40s?
No, I thought we got into the 60s.
Okay. So we got somewhere between 50 and 60 in, and it rained, and track team stuck it out, and we were able to get the baby dried out, and we went back racing.
We were sitting in the parking lot, and we heard the radio call for getting the cars on the track to dry it. And then as we were standing in the parking lot, we heard the hammer, the old Henefeld, come over the speakers and say, "Drivers to your cars."
Yep. So we did get to go back racing for the Nationals. Kind of a couple storylines within that. Bubba Pollard made the haul. Unfortunately got collected in a wreck early. So he ended up he was done before the rain break.
Yep.
So just an unfortunate event for him. And before the rain break, Austin Nason, who we'll touch on in the news section, dude had a rocket ship early.
Yep.
And it looked like he was going to have a car that was going to be tough to beat. But handling kind of shifted a little bit after the rain. Obviously, that affects the rubber on the racetrack. So he was fast early. And then from there, you just had to know the 91 was going to be tough to beat.
Well, and I think too, to your point, we don't know for sure. I don't know if you guys heard anything on the radio, but Nason was good, was really solid out there by himself. But then another guy that from what he made it sound piece to ride together late there was the old 5-piece of Johnny Sauter. And he was a man on a mission, and I don't know what you guys heard on the radio, but what was going through my mind is Johnny was racing the weather, because I don't know what you guys knew, but like I was watching obviously on Flow, and you could just see those black clouds just rolling in. And so, yeah, he was, Sauter was quick too, and raced his way to the front. And thankfully it wasn't, but very well could have been the race to the checker there, early on, only 50, 60 laps in. But yeah, Sauter had a solid piece too there, until late in the race when he started getting racing with the squirrels. But both Sauters, for that fact.
Yeah, and that was the car that Jonathan Nee had drove at for the ASA race.
Yep.
Or a handful of weeks ago too. So that car already had a few laps under its belt and a little bit of a notebook going into that. Derek Thornton had to race his way in through a last chance. And we'd be remiss to say that the last chance bandit came out again.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Handled that last chance. Half tracked him.
But that showed how much of and for those that don't know, we're talking about Derek Kraus.
Yep.
But it showed how much of a race car that he had versus a qualifying car.
Yep.
And was able to take advantage.
For sure. Kind of one surprise, I think, as somebody who was a winner at this track already in the year, Justin Mondyke.
Yeah.
Did not make the feature, and he's won a super late model race already this year. So that one kind of surprised a little bit in that. So I was kind of a guy I kind of had an eye on, as he'd previously won a race already there this spring. So
yeah,
not to stay in B in the last chance, but another guy, former guest of ours that had a rocket ship as well, was Ryan Farrell. He had a good piece as well, that ultimately got taken out. A Gremlin, it's an oil line or something, but he was somebody as well that he got on that outside, behind Kraus, and he took off too, and he looked like he had a solid car as well. Unfortunately, didn't get to see what would have been able to do it in the Nationals, but looked bad fast in the LCQ there.
Yep.
Ultimately, he got into the race, and obviously Kraus made his way up from the back, and was able to avoid trouble to get himself up to the front. A guy that it had been a while since he had raced there, and we were kind of curious how he was going to do. Casey Johnson. I think
he had a hell of a 2 days.
Yep.
He was lights out fast in practice too on Monday.
And he was consistently up front. Didn't lead any laps, but he stayed out of trouble and just got himself a good finish out of there for the first time since, I think, like 21 or 22.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. There's another guy.
I feel like he's like, everybody takes note of him when he's there, but like he's just like, I feel like the model of consistency. Like, he's just gonna show up. He's gonna be solid all around, and then he's gonna have a solid piece, and then he's just somebody who knows how to drive what he's got and find his way to the front. So it's hard to bet against him.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that today. We were looking at it. We'll talk on the Midwest Tour race here just in a minute, but all of the 4 Midwest Tour races this year, his worst finish is second.
Pretty damn good.
In 4 races, his average finish is a 1.5 with 2 2s and 2 1s. It'd also be a reason why he's leading the point standings. Yeah, you talk about a model of consistency. That is it.
If you want to add on to it too, he's gotten a live 5 win as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Some guys that had some good runs going early, that just kind of fell off or had issues. Johnny DeAngelis, he had his issues late in that race. Michael Bilderback got caught up in a couple of cautions. He was the one that spun and then got caught up in another one that he took blame for on the second one. Max Kaler, Steve Apel, both caught up in cautions. Steve Apel broke, and I believe Kaler, I don't remember what happened with Kaler.
Yep.
But just some guys that you kind of were thinking were going to run pretty fast and just ended up having issues, which that's what Slinger does too. That's a tough track to run. It's tough on equipment.
Yep.
So, ultimately though, I think obviously we all knew that Majeski was going to be the guy to beat, especially with how fast he wasn't qualifying and how much he just obliterated the field by. Nason gave him a shot, was there for a little while on the outside, but just never got it to, the inside, and just never really got it to stick.
Yep. Yeah, he was going to be tough to beat. Anywhere that car unloads, it's going to be the road to victory lane is going to run through that camp one way or another.
And especially when he finished second at the ASA race there.
Yep. Absolutely.
He was looking for blood at that place. So,
yeah.
Ultimately, he led 167 laps, I believe, is what we said.
Yeah, he led a ton.
And with the lap money in play there as well.
Yeah.
He got just about $16,000 just in lap money alone.
Yeah. Even kind of going away from just the racing itself, the event felt big again this year.
Yep. Felt a little bit bigger.
More cars. We knew we were sending somebody home. It felt a little bigger this year than it did last year.
Do we think it's having God damn it, why can't I think of his name now? Ricky Brooks in the tech shed?
I don't think it hurt.
Because, obviously we talk about the Big League Memorial, a UARA race, and how many of the Midwest guys go down there for that race.
Yep.
Versus the number of guys that didn't come to the ASA race. Now, given that's a carb deal and you're dealing with Slinger super speedway track rules versus ASA rules.
Yeah, but again, I think the hard part is you turn around and you bring in the ASA guys to run that piece of it as well. Do you have a different group of guys that come in?
Sure.
Right? Like those groups in particular are somewhat polarized, I would say, in the idea of obviously I don't want to say don't see eye to eye, but aren't exactly playing by the same rules.
Yep.
So, I don't know. They were teching Slinger Nationals rule books. They weren't teching UARA stuff, but it did, I think, bring a little more presence to the Room of Doom.
And I think you didn't make the tech shed the headline of the day.
Correct.
Ultimately.
Correct. And I think that was a big piece of it coming out of last year.
Yep.
So, no, I think it was a good step in the right direction for the Dassaults in their first year.
And I think with it being on Flow, obviously, I think you got a much larger audience. Cam, I know you're actually listening and watching. I don't know how the production itself was for the race.
Pretty solid. The only gripe I had was as the weather was moving in, they called the old camera crew down. So it was as Sauter was working Nason and those two were going at it. We got stuck with just the camera right on the fence, just past the finish line. like the NASCAR crank it up camera.
Yep.
That was the only camera view that's the only camera view we had. So there could see the finish line in 3 and 4, and that was it. But obviously safety comes first. So that was the only gripe on that, but no solid job across the board. And I was going to ask you guys this. I don't know where I saw it. Question on the fan turnout. Were the stands completely full? How was that compared to what you guys have seen in the past years?
I would say at least because I've been a lot more than what Kellen has. Definitely not as full as what years past have been with it changing to reserve seating. Who knows if they do that again? I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
Maybe it was reserved seating, but I also had saw another thing that said, I don't know where I saw it, maybe Facebook. Just somebody that had commented that said, sad to see the bleachers aren't full. This is what Flow is going to do to this race. So
I don't think that's a Flow deal. That's a track deal.
I think between, the reserve seating and then, obviously first year in Flow, people like myself is like, why am I going to drive 2.5 hours, get back at 1:30 in the morning when I can watch it from the comfort of my living,
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe some of both, who knows, but
it definitely, the seats that were full filled in late.
Yep.
And you got to remember, it's a Tuesday. So it's for somebody, it might have their reserved seat. They don't have to be there right at qualifying time. Like some of us just love to sit there and watch everything happen anyways. So it was fairly empty at qualifying, but by the time last chances rolled around, it had started to fill in more than what it was earlier in the night.
Yep.
I would say.
I think, and that's, I feel like getting a little bit nitpicky. The event as a whole, I feel like is first year track owner, first year on Flow, and just what we're dealing with. Again, we talked about it last week, car count. I think now race, whole event complete. I think overall, very positive event, step in the right direction. And I feel like hopefully this is the start of building something that just is going to continue to get bigger and, ultimately get back to, what we've seen in the past of, 50 car counts. And then it's just continue to raise the stakes for this awesome event and awesome track.
As I would say, make it the Snowball Derby of the North.
Yep.
Yep.
And Travis is a very smart man around racers.
And he's a racer at that.
So he was working. He was there. He was working. He was enjoying it to a certain degree. But that notebook is already, the notebook and the data was compiled across those 2 days with everything that was going on.
Yep.
I don't know that you could necessarily say he's enjoying the event because as he's, under rain delay, they interviewed him on Flow and was right on the chute where you come on the track and they interviewed him and he's got his headset on and he was going 1,000,000 miles an hour and trying to there was some water running off on the chute there right down onto the track. And that was the one spot he was concerned about. So it's a work day for him. But like you said, he's building a notebook. And like you said, I don't think, they gave a little story on him of just growing up, going to that track, racing there and where he's at in his life. Like, I don't feel like it couldn't be in better hands, to be honest with you. Somebody that knows the importance of the event, loves the track, has grown up around it, knows what that place is about. Like, I feel like it's in really good hands.
Yep.
And last thought on that too, when they're drying that track off, I mean, I know whoever's making that call, but when they drop the green flag after the rain delay, guy had to have a brick in his shorts because whoever makes the call to go green again, like that track better be.
Oh,
Like I was on the edge of my seat there, like dropping it. Like this track better be as
Yep.
good as it seems, because if it's not, holy smokes, we got problems.
Yep.
talk about taking a good event into make it a terrible race in a matter of a turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, well, any final thoughts?
Rattle off top 10 here real quick.
Yep.
So, obviously, Ty Majeski wins his 4th Slinger Nationals, moves to 3rd all time, I believe, on that list.
Yep.
Austin Nason goes 2nd. Andrew Morrissey, guy we didn't talk about and actually made it through the tech shed this year, goes 3rd. Derek Krause 4th. Casey Johnson 5th. Luke Fenhouse 6th. Penn Sauter 7th. Gabe Summers 8th. Johnny Sauter 9th. And RJ Braun was 10th, who was then your highest finishing Slinger normal.
Yep.
Slinger weekly guy.
Yep, for sure. So good event. Always excited for it every year. Fall in the middle of the week. Nothing like spending a day at the racetrack in the middle of the week.
Yep.
So, well, going from the world's fastest quarter mile, we'll go ahead and jump over and just briefly touch on the Cup race at Sonoma. So, I'm going to be honest with you. I watched about the first 50. Couldn't keep my eyes open, so I missed about the middle 60, and I caught about the last 50, give or take a few. So, needless to say, between those little stints of the event, not much really changed. It pretty much was the SVG show.
Yeah, and you had your couple of fights mid pack in that race. Well, yeah, if you weren't able to catch a SVG on the restart, and Briscoe even mentioned it too. He's like, yeah, I probably could have gotten around him on a couple of restarts, but he'd have probably just gone back around me in that same lap or the next lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we were all battling shut eye, trying to recover, and there was no better week because it was a snooze fest, and SVG was just dog walking the field. I mean, yeah, and I don't know how you guys are feeling, if you guys are road coursed out or not, but if we keep the schedule, this guy is going to be a weapon. I mean, for real. Like, think about what he's done to him, his playoff picture, and his. I mean, I don't know that I want to go this far, but career in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, this guy is.
They're saying that he's one of the top ones as far as the number of. He's one of the quickest to get 4 wins in whatever many starts that he got it in.
Yep.
I want to say I saw he beat either Stewart or Gordon. They had 43, and I think he had 34. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah, this guy is a menace out there.
And then he's one of the first drivers to have at least 2 or 3 road course wins in a row since 2002 or 1998, something like that, when Gordon did it.
Yep, Gordon was the last one to do that. Yeah,
and then obviously all three of his wins have come from the pole as well.
Yep. My conversation around this whole happening this weekend isn't really even necessarily the race itself, outside of the fact that the 10 absolutely housed the 48 to get to the championship round in that in-season deal. Just
Bowman absolutely housed Hocevar too.
And Barry.
Barry
bombed it in there.
Yeah.
But my bigger conversation around the weekend is, let's talk about the fact that SVG is 3rd in the playoff standings.
I said it the past 2 times he's won, and I'm going to say it again. He's doing exactly what he was hired to do. And he even said that on the post-race show. He said, I was hired to come here and run the best I can at the road courses and win races on road courses and best I can on the ovals. And he admits he's not a good oval racer. He knows it and he's working on it. But again, the investment I think for Justin Marks and that Trackhouse team is paying off.
I just saw it today. I was scrolling on Twitter and somebody posted the meme of Happy Gilmore when he figured out how to putt. And the caption was SVG when he figures out ovals.
Oh.
Well, and I mean, he's not great on ovals, and that's fine. But what he's done for himself, just think what he can do the rest of the year. He can flip the script at any race he wants. You guys want to? Everybody else wants to pit. I'm going to stay out and I'm going to win the stage and grab myself an extra playoff point, 10 stage points. Like, dude is playing with house money the rest of the year now. He's got himself.
This is where it comes down to is he's got to score points these next couple weeks. Dover, Indy, Iowa. Tracks for him. Then you go to the Glen.
Almost won it last year.
Could very well win that thing.
Yep.
You go Richmond and Daytona to finish the season out. Their MO is to win Watkins Glen. And then from there, how many stages can we flip to score points? Because he's third in the playoff standings right now. When you look at the round of 16, those three races, Darlington, Worldwide Tech, and Bristol. Not going to be great tracks for him. But if he can bank points and get to that next round where he goes to the Roval, he could find his way into the round of 8.
What were the first two of those? Darlington and
Worldwide Tech.
He said Darlington's probably one of his favorite tracks.
Okay.
He said Worldwide Tech's a decent track for him. He's kind of figuring it out. He said Bristol, he'd be better off going backwards than what he's doing.
Okay. Got it.
So if he's going to gain ground and give himself a buffer in that first round playoff, it's got to be Darlington.
Yep. And it's got to be winning and scoring winning Watkins Glen, including a couple of stages in there.
And even in those races too, especially for Darlington and even Worldwide Technology, maybe you could have that same mentality of, okay, let's see if we can flip stages and get stage points.
Yep. Get them. By golly, you got
to get in the top 12.
By golly, go way, way off script and run something wide and take a playoff point. Win a stage.
Top 12, that 12th position is where he's aiming at the end of that first round.
Because if he gets through there, he could find himself in the round of 8 no matter what happens. Because the Roval, he will be decent at the Roval, guaranteed.
Yep.
It's insane.
That's the part that not even the race this weekend. That's the part for me that Cam, when you said he's a weapon in the playoff standings is what he is.
One of the things to mention here too is that, obviously he's, you could label him as a road ringer. It's what he does. It's what he knows. We've had former road ringers run. I think the most notable of those is Marcos Ambrose.
Yeah.
Especially coming from the Australian supercars himself. And look and Ambrose got himself a couple wins. But SVG is just taking this to a whole nother level as far as what a road ringer can do with a car that probably is a little more adept to run a road course.
Yeah.
And for a car that he's probably a little bit more familiar with.
Yeah, the road courses, he's in his own zip code. Like, as some of the guys were talking to the broadcaster, I was even seeing a little bit on Twitter. Next week, or when you go to Watkins Glen, it's 1 against 36 or 37 or however many cars show up.
It's SVG versus the field.
Bingo. That's what road course racing is now.
I mean, we just talked about it at the Slinger Nationals. Slinger Nationals goes through the 91 team. Anytime you go to a road course, it runs through the 88 team.
Yep.
But, he was dog walking the field. We did have a couple mix-ups there in the back of the field that kept it interesting a little bit. Watermelon Boy said, "Oh, mi amigo's out, so I'll punt him on his way out." Not a good look there for Chastain.
Yep.
Yep.
Suarez
Blaney
didn't
got
say anything.
beached.
Yep.
Yeah, when I just saw that
Who got Blaney?
Chastain spotter went down and apologized to Suarez, and nobody said anything. So that team chemistry's got to be at just about an all-time low. But Gregson, he found himself on catching himself on air for a while there for all the wrong reasons.
How many times did he spin?
Twice at least before somebody said we've seen enough of this. He was cussing about Kyle Larson for some reason on the radio.
He was the one that spun him the first time. I know that.
Yep.
Blaney
And Busher.
and
Yeah,
Busher.
do a little agricultural racing.
Blaney could have something with Larson as well for Larson not rolling back onto the track there at the end.
Yep.
That one spin was Bubba was in the one. Who was in it with Bubba? Priest was in there. That one where Priest got some damage. Bubba spun. Yeah, I don't know.
I think the big one that we're missing didn't even happen on the track. It happened on pit road.
Oh yeah.
The old Keselowski and Ty Gibbs teams got a little rowdy.
Where do you sit on that?
So I just saw a video today, and I should try and I got high limit on my phone.
RFK posted some more videos today, so it probably was on their Twitter page.
Did you see the point of view from the pit guy?
Yeah.
That's the video I'm talking about.
Yep.
You see a pretty drastic left turn. And I don't know about you, but I've never seen a car get that close to a pit guy in that scenario.
No, it was pretty tight. I'm in the middle on it. Did Gibbs run him a little tight? Probably. Were those guys trying to make time, shooting the gap on two cars coming in back to back? Yes.
Yep.
To me, it's a little bit of both. Like, did Gibbs get him a little tight? Probably, but he didn't pin him a lane from the, or not even a lane. He didn't pin him 2 tires from the wall. It wasn't like he was like really pinching them. But in the same sense, like, those guys are jumping out to make time in a hurry because the pit stops are just so damn tight now that when you got 2 cars coming into the stalls back to back like that, you got to be ready to go. So to me, it's a little both. Like, a car a little tight, intentional or not, I don't know. A car a little tight, and he tried to shoot the gap in there, and it just caught him with that left tire in his left hand.
I mean, you're saying he pinched him a little bit, but, whatever. I mean, we're talking about humans jumping in front of a race car.
Correct.
So I don't know. We got access to everything else, steering patterns, throttle traces, all that. Come on, NASCAR, go back and look at the SMT data of what he was doing on pit road. And I don't know. Gibbs has got to I don't want to jump to conclusions, but he's got a track record of being able to lose his lid here pretty quick, but I don't know. I'm not impressed. And Yeah, it's not ideal.
I sit in the middle on it.
I don't know if I'm going to lean in a direction. I think I'm leaning in the RFK direction.
Fair. I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't run through too many boxes. He also has the right of way.
Yep.
And he obviously knew that because when they interviewed him right away, he came out and said, I have the right of way. I didn't drive through too many boxes. We had the orange lines painted on the orange lines were on the boxes. I came through just like the NASCAR rules regulate. So he obviously either was coached up on how to fix that interview or had just downright known the rules.
Yep.
So from a pure rule standpoint, it's not even rules. It's more of the ethics part of this than anything.
Yep. 100%.
So I don't know. Yeah,
that SMT data.
I'm not going to deny the fact that he can lose his cool in a hurry.
Yep.
It can take him about 6 seconds to lose his cool. And that's being generous.
Yeah.
But
was there an on track? Am I missing it? Was there an RFK on track with him? Were they banging?
Keselowski shipped him a little bit.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Busher. Busher shipped him a little bit.
Yeah. So we had some guys find each other. So I don't know. Well, any final thoughts on Sonoma or the playoff standings as SVG is just wreaking havoc is, I guess, the best way to put it.
The only thing I'd maybe have is the top 10, but I'll wait to see if Cam's got anything first before I rattle off.
I guess I'm a little bit road coursed out here, so looking forward to getting something and seeing SVG ride around in 32nd. So I'm looking forward to Dover.
Monster Mile. Top 10 here real quick. Obviously, SVG won. Chase Briscoe was second. Chase Elliott third. Michael McDowell finally got his rebound weekend, finished fourth. Christopher Bell fifth. Tyler Reddick sixth. Ty Gibbs seventh. William Byron eighth. Joey Logano ninth. And this guy, I swear, he should spin every race because then he finds a way to actually come back. Kyle Busch 10th.
Yep. Just misery for the 8th this year.
Yeah, where's he sitting in the playoff picture?
Not good.
20th?
Yeah, might even be deeper than that.
18th.
Yeah. So that's your top 10. That's
minus 37.
That's the wild shakeup in the playoff points is SVG is just wreaking havoc on playoff points, the ability to lock yourself into the playoffs, looking ahead to the future rounds. So kind of wild. So looking ahead, one more short little race recap we got for you. Talking about the Midwest Tour at Hawkeye Down. So this race for us was coming off of our own racing against each other. We got back to the house just as green flag flew. So got to stop in and check out Hawkeye Downs for the Midwest Tour. So what kind of quick points do we have on this one as we look at the race at Hawkeye with the Midwest Tour?
Hate it for another one of our guests that we had on, Bryce Miller. That was a track that he had circled on his schedule to run really good at. Doesn't even get a chance as he breaks a motor in qualifying.
No. Yeah. Just the agony of racing sometimes. So, no, once we kind of got going, I think your Midwest Tour point leaders just naturally kind of found their way to the front. Vandergeest led some laps early, had a decent run going. Kind of got shuffled back there a little bit, but we had a restart. Was able to kind of regroup them. there was an incident with the 2.5s with John Beal and Penn Sauter, unfortunately, and the result of that was both of those cars going to the tail. So that kind of shuffled up the lineup there a little bit. And then ultimately, when it kind of came down to it, was just Johnson and Summers, just a kind of the last year or two, just a very typical Midwest Tour big race finish for these guys.
Managing those tires. I mean, that was ultimately what it come to, because you had that long green flag run ultimately in that race.
Yep.
And they mentioned it multiple times is saving that right front for the end of the race.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think there's anybody better guy at doing something like that than Casey Johnson. Obviously, we mentioned him for the Slinger Nationals, and you mentioned that he's now best, worst finish is second place.
Yep. And I think looking back at it, right, Gabe Summers, I think he needed to go 3 laps earlier, or he needed 3 more laps, and that race was going to get really good coming to the finish.
Yep.
So he had saved enough, and if he maybe would have gone a little harder, a little earlier, he would have been right there. But when you're racing a veteran like Casey Johnson, who's won some very big events on tire conservation, he's going to be tough to beat.
I think the other thing too, and you mentioned Summers there, or not Summers, Levon. Dude is close to getting that finally getting that victory. I mean, he led a good chunk of laps. He had a good lead going for him too, but it's just that long green flag run kind of wore his stuff out a little bit, and as they say, the cream rises to the top there.
Yep. Handling kind of fell away, but guys taking lanes kind of didn't help him either, and he mentioned that in the interview as well. So maybe a little frustration getting out of the car. So no, all in all, good race though. Always cool to see. Little known fact: Hawkeye Downs is one of 2 asphalt tracks in the state of Iowa. For you statistic nuts that listen. So, but let's run through that top 10 quick, or at least the top handful that finished with the Midwest Tour.
I'll say I got it ready if you need it.
Perfect. Fire away.
Casey Johnson obviously won that one. We talked about Summers. He finished second. Levon did end up with a podium finish in third. Riley Stenstrom was fourth. Beal fifth. Cody King in sixth. Cody Dempster was seventh. Penn Sauter was eighth. Ty Fredrickson was ninth. And Clay Kurtz rounded up top 10.
Nice. So that kind of wraps up the asphalt portion of the episode here. We're going to do a little dirt talk here. Before we jump into those, we're just going to kind of do a little bit of a mid-season check-in terms of the sprint car racing world. We're kind of leading up to Kings Royal is our schedule. We got posted on social media. That's coming up this weekend. So it's kind of just a good point to check in and see surprises, guys that have struggled, the rivalry in the series. What do we got for quick hitters here to get this rocking and rolling with the midseason check-in for sprint car racing?
I guess I'll go first here on the high roller side of things. He's been solid. I saw him on a heat race tonight, throttling it up below a tractor tire. He's racing on the infield, but that old 87 machine, Aaron Reitzel. I would throw him in the surprise category, where he's found himself. 4 wins, 13 top 5s, 19 top 10s, and Buddy is only 3 points back of, you could argue, the best guy in the business at racing a sprint car, which is Brad Sweet. So, yeah, I want to throw him in as a surprise. That whole top 5 there in the high limit crew is separated by 56 points. So tight points race over there. But if I'm going to be honest, I didn't see the old 87 machine battling it out with Brad Sweet for the points lead.
And, I think to that point, I thought Brad was going to kind of pull away a little bit quicker. If I would say, of note of that, Aaron Reitzel actually missed a feature as well. That was the one that was right after he broke his nose.
Correct.
Yeah.
So even then, he'd probably be in the points lead if he was in that feature.
Yep.
You mentioned that the top 5 in the high limit series was real close. I think last year, and I think we mentioned this at the end of the year, and even at the beginning of this year, talking about Rico Abreu, where obviously last year was his first year as far as actually fighting for a championship in a series. And I think he figured out late how to kind of points race and finish races.
Yep.
And now you're starting to really see it pay off where he is running consistently up in the front and is getting finishes, good finishes at that, in order to keep himself in the championship battle. Obviously 6 wins so far on the year. He's tied in top 10 finishes with Brad Sweet, but he's got 5 less top 5s than what Brad Sweet does as well. So I think when it comes to points battle, obviously high limits the closer one at that. Looking at the World Outlaws, David Gravel's having another phenomenal year as pretty much what was expected for him. So far 10 wins and 39 starts. Buddy Kofoid and Carson Macedo have really been kind of the 2 closest ones, but even then, Buddy Kofoid in second place is 180 points back from there.
Yeah. And I think just looking at the World of Outlaw statistics, like just looking at it in general, right? Like the top 5s alone, Gravel's got 13 more top 5s than Buddy does.
And he's finished in the top 10 almost every single race.
Correct. He's 33 for 39 on top 5s. He's 38 for 39 in top 10s. So there's one feature that they've run for the World of Outlaws that he has not finished in the top 10.
And I believe it was actually a DNF and his only DNF on the year.
I would concur. So, it's the points battles are drastically different. I think if I'm gonna kind of take a surprise, and I'll do a little bit for both series, somebody who's a little deeper in the point standings, I would say, but he's been hot lately. I have to say Tanner Thorson.
Yeah.
He's a guy that I could see him winning some big races coming down the stretch. That crew just keeps getting closer and closer. I think they're starting to find more consistency than what they had. I think they wish they had a little more, but I think they're starting to see that trend in the right direction. So I would have to say for high limit, it would be Thorson. When I flip over and look at the the World of Outlaw side, I think for us, and this is a little biased, I would say Bill Baylog. You're starting to see that program as well is just finding more consistency more frequently. So, yes, he sits 8th in points, but
So I was going to say one other surprise, and I think you can couple the two in the same category and in the similar situation, but sitting at 8th in the points at high limit, our boy Casey Cocaine hasn't won, but I feel like this is, it's been a while for him in this, and I feel like Baylog's got 2 wins on the year, but with both of them, I feel like they're similar. You're starting to see them run up front and be in the shows and up front more frequently. And I think for Casey Kane, it's been like he's been a B main maniac the last couple of years with high rollers. Just death taxes and Casey Kane in a B main. But I feel like he's consistently, found himself in A mains, and he's found himself running, well, around that 10, find himself a couple top 10s. And then, similar to Billy Baylog, he's running in the top 10 more frequently. But again, he's got himself 2 wins. And so, again, he's showing more frequently that he's got what it takes, and smaller team, and was just shy of a third win at 141 earlier this year. So 2 guys that, I would say they're similar. Obviously, wins goes to Baylog. He's got 2 wins on the year, but both guys that have shown flashes of being able to run up front. And then not only that, but they're consistently, running better across the board. So 2, I don't know if you want to say surprises, but 2 guys that I feel like have made good strides this year.
One last real quick point on Baylog, just because I think we've talked about it enough. Past 7 races, no worse than 7th.
That's championship material. Now I know he's not, that's what you got to do over the course of the year.
And especially when, again, and I mentioned it, just even climbing up a position or 2 in the point standings is huge for that end year payoff.
Yep.
So, flipping the script here a little bit, I think a guy that you kind of expected more out of, and, might catch a little flack for this as well, Donnie Schatz. He's sitting 6th in points right now, still sitting without a victory. He's finishing races, yes. He's 23 top 10s. They had 6 top 5s so far this year. The next guy underneath him between Donnie and Bill Baylog is Gio Selzy, but he's got a win under his belt. And I go with Donnie just because he obviously had the issues with the Ford motors earlier in the year, and them switching motor programs. For a 10-time champ, you kind of expect him to be not necessarily in the championship battle every year, but at least in that top 5, top 4 type of deal as well. And I know he's not liking the performance. I'm sure he doesn't like the performance he's getting as well. Obviously, they left the Ford Motor Company for engine providers. But I'm sure they're looking for something there. If I'm going to go, at least on the World Outlaw side, I think that's going to be where my pick would go.
He took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly where I was going.
And I mean, Schatz is synonymous with championships as well. But the way Old Smoke is selling off and getting out of sports, and going more all in on this NHR stuff, Schatz better figure it out before Smoke throws in the old pin and says, I ain't doing this much longer.
Yeah.
No, that's worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Obviously, Smoke was a sprint car guy himself, and drove a sprint car. But look, with any of these teams in any sport, any driver in any discipline of racing, you gotta win. It's not cheap to do this, but yeah, the old Schatz has been. I'm not gonna say it.
Shoddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Going to the high limit side, where do you guys go high limit side wise?
Well, if I'm
Wrong
going to
money.
look at that and I'm going to compare it to the B feature that's rolling out right now for high limit, I think a name I think there's 2 names that kind of jump out of the gate here. Spencer Baston and Brenham Crouch.
Yeah.
Obviously I might be picking at the low branch here, but out of the full-time guys, they're at the bottom of that list right now.
I was just hyping up cocaine, and he's rolling off outside row 4 in this B main. Come on, buddy.
In a B
Get
feature
elbows
that takes
up.
the top 4.
Yep.
Elbows up, buddy. Get her up on the high side and let her rip.
No,
I was going to go Kyle Larson, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Really?
You're what?
I was gonna say Kyle Larson.
I mean, I get where you're getting at. Out of the 10 races that he's run, you figured you maybe have a couple more.
But I also feel like, and maybe it's a little bit. I feel like he's just, yeah, I don't know.
Ever since Indy, he's not been right.
Yeah. The double, something was up at the double, and now the Cup car is beat up every week, and he can't seem to figure out the sprint car thing.
And maybe that's what it is. But I feel like he's smashing up a lot. Maybe I'm mixing all his disciplines into one and just taking it out on him here. But I feel like that man has smashed up mucho dinero this year.
Cup side, he has for sure.
Oh, for absolutely. I mean, Christ, look at how he wrecked at, what was that, 141?
Yeah.
When he flipped that sucker into the fence?
Yeah.
Now, given he broke an axle, I mean, stuff like that happens, but
It's not characteristic of what we've seen from him traditionally.
yep. And you know, the fortunate part is it may not happen at the Kings Royal, but when the Knoxville Nationals come around, he's probably going to win it because that's just what he does.
Yeah,
It's just
annoying.
Probably.
he goes in that stretch where he's just really bad. He's like, I don't know. We're still working on some stuff in the program, trying to figure stuff out. And then he just goes out and dominates.
Yep.
Hell, knowing Paul Silva, he's probably trying stuff out, knowing that's what it's leading up to.
True.
It's Paul Silva doing Silva things.
You know, I think when I look at this high limit list, when I look from like 8th or 9th on down in points, Kane's 9th. 10th is the quickest chicken, Chase Randall. 10th is Persley, 11th is Baston, 12th is Crouch, 13th is Cy Lynch, 14th is Danny Sams III. I just didn't know what to expect from these guys.
Yeah.
You got a couple guys that made ride changes in there. I think one guy that I could potentially say on the high limit side that I think has struggled a little more than I would thought, would have to be the old Race Routine ride, the 26. That's a car that I expected, I think, to run better, more regularly.
And I think, like, for him, it started off pretty decent.
Yeah.
And then they blew that motor at
Up by you.
up
You
by
were there
me in
that
Menominee.
Yeah.
And who's to say maybe that's when it kind of went down a tad.
Justin Peck is who we're referring to. I should clarify that. But I say that, but here again, he sits 6th in points.
Well, but he's found himself 9th in the B main right now.
Well, right. That's what I'm saying. He's back there with Casey Kane in 8th. Like, the other guys, I didn't know what to expect. Like, Peck's been around long enough and he's raced enough that I felt more confident in what they were going to have put together, both with the program and himself. Maybe that's a little bit of a reach. I don't know. Corday doesn't run enough anymore to like really be like, yeah, he's struggling.
He's got that truck ride.
He's working on the asphalt side of things, and old boy will put on a show when he gets in a sprint car. He ain't afraid to drive the wheels off of that baby.
Brother.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody drive a sprint car as hard as he does sometimes. When people say fears nothing, that's him. But I don't know. I guess the question on the high limit side, this is my last question for this topic, and we can kind of go from there. When you look at the points battle, you have your top 4 within 31 points of Sweet as the leader. Reitzel's 3 back, Courtney's 15 back. Rico is 31 back. Do any of those other three outside of Sweet, can they take the crown from the Cat?
If there's one guy I think that can do it, and he was the main competitor for Sweet last year, I think the same's going to happen again this year. I think it's going to be Tyler Courtney.
Okay.
I think Abreu's got a chance to leapfrog into third. Reitzel's got a chance to fall off. If there's a guy that I would put my money on as far as being able to contend with Sweet, I'd put my money on Courtney.
I mean, I could look at Rico and say Rico can do it.
Dude shows up when there's a lot of green on the line. He sees green and he runs good.
Correct.
Same amount of top 10s, 5 less top 5s is Sweet, but 3 more wins. I don't know. To be honest, I mean, I could see all three. I could see all three of them doing it. Courtney's no slouch. He's going to be good wherever he shows up. Rico's going to have a solid piece, and he's not going to beat himself. And Reitzel is
struggling in this B main right now.
Dude was hammering down below the tractor tire in his heat race.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. If we would have recorded one day later, we'd be having a different conversation with the old Reitzel machine once these points go in tonight.
Yeah. Oh, Baston. Speak of Baston, he's turned around again.
Yep.
That feller has been turned around, I think, 3 times tonight.
Might have had a little bit of that whiskey.
Yeah.
At Whiskey Myers Victory Lane.
I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't touch on this. The old high limit versus World Outlaws, or as Cam likes to say, the high rollers versus the posse, the Woo Gang. The little rivalry that we got here. Is it a rivalry? Is it not? You know, how do we kind of look at this? These two competing series.
It goes in phases. When one's got a big show and the rest of the other boys show up, if World of Outlaws ever let their guys race anything ever again, like then that's where like the poking fun, the social media games, and Rico's usually good for one really good 6-second meme. Like that's when it is. When they go their separate ways, I think they're fairly cordial as they're kind of racing about their own ways, but it's just when those big money shows up, and then all of a sudden, all it takes is one team to post a quick little meme on Twitter, and then she goes bonkers. So I don't know. Everyone's always keeping score when they race against each other.
Yep.
And I think sprint car racing's in a good spot, and I think it does make it. I mean, it's just more entertaining for us. And look, we're not leaning one way or the other. We just want the best sprint car drivers in the world at a show, and when that happens, I think it just makes it a little bit more fun because there's going to be some bragging rights on it and on the line, and whoever wins is, like you said, they're going to have some fun with it. Whether it's keeping score, a meme, whatever. So I don't know. It's fun. Both series are fantastic. Both have got great drivers in it, and they're fun to follow along. But I think it just makes it we get a little intermingling, it makes it fun and a little bit more entertaining.
2 comments that I got. One, you hear High Limit mention the World Outlaws a lot more than you hear the World Outlaws mention High Limit. And 2, this was mentioned by Dirt Tracker, I believe last week or the week before, but there's going to be 2 chances that we're going to have a sprint car speed weeks where you're going to have both of them there this weekend for the Kings Royal.
Yep.
With the double down duels and the Joker's Jackpot, and then the Kings Royal for high limit, both high limit and World Outlaws, and then Knoxville Nationals.
Yep.
So you're gonna have 2 chances where all the guys are gonna be there, going against each other.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I just, as we've said it a million times, I just wish the World Outlaw guys could run a little more frequently. 6 seems awfully low.
Yep. There actually might be more chances as I look at the schedule here. The World Outlaws last race is in Texas on October 18th. And then you've got the World Championships for the World Outlaws at the beginning of November. So you might have another one where them guys show up.
Yep. With the race restrictions, if you want your guys to go win a high limit race, well, we gotta play with that number a little bit, because if they're out of freebies, then you can't race, you can't win their money.
Yep.
Right? Gotta have a horse in the race to win the race, right? Like, I don't know. But I just wish they could run a little more. Give them 20.
Sure.
It doesn't need to be a full season. They ain't got to race a million times a year. But 6 just is it's a little bit too small.
Yep.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun when they get together. That's the thing about it.
Oh, 100%.
Social media lights up. Guys are poking fun. They're kind of keeping score. Like, that's when you can go ahead and let them have at her.
Yep.
So
you get to see the best sprint car drivers in the world going at it.
Yep. Well, any final thoughts before we go ahead and jump into our quick news?
Ready for the weekend on this. Ready to see some great sprint car racing.
Sweet. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got some news this week. This section kind of lit up for us a little bit. So I'll go ahead and jump into the first 4. Austin Nason, just casually flow racing interview, drops a bomb on everyone. He announces he'll be stepping away from full-time racing this year after the completion of this year, citing going ahead and taking over the reins of the family business. And he also has a son who's going to try to do a little racing. So, as he said, I haven't told anybody, and we immediately blew up the group chat. So, did not see that coming.
Nope.
Of the 14 campus, he's on the national tour this year. Ryan Truex racing for Sam Hunt Racing at Dover this weekend, running for 3 in a row. So, a dude that Van Grohl has been very openly stated should have a full-time ride. He's going to go ahead and run that race for Sam Hunt, see what he can get her done. NASCAR, Winston-Salem, Bowman Gray. They're close to an agreement to hold a race at the track once a year for the next 5 years, but confirmed clash for 2026. So we have the first piece of the 2026 schedule is confirmed, being Bowman Gray, as they continue to invest in that facility. Kind of a little bit more of a sponsorship deal, a little bit longer term, Legacy Motor Club, Dollar Tree. They're partners, buddy, till 2028 or through 2028. So those are the 4 I've got for you.
I'll hop in here next and hammer down. Just going to breeze through this first one because at this point, we don't even know what's going on and we're just spinning out left and right, confused as hell. But 2311 in Front Row Motorsports denied appeal for a rehearing injunction. Later file a new court filing with new evidence, which essentially basically lengthens the time they have the charters. So, yeah, I'm no legal expert. It's just I don't know what it means. Just let's file a lawsuit here. It's not going our way. Another lawsuit here, there. Yeah, getting tired of lawsuit news. So we're moving on. Coastal Plains Raceway is set to reopen in August. The Florence Motor Speedway owner will be at the helm. So again, positive news. Another racetrack reopening in August. So looking forward to that. Then we go to some sad news. The company that makes the Martinsville clocks is going to close their doors. We're good for this year, but we will need a new company to make the clocks next year. So if there's any clock makers out there that are listening to this and you don't want to screw up the clock, I'm sure you can submit your application. And then lastly, Junior Motorsports and Roto Rooter agree to a multi-year sponsorship deal. So who wouldn't want to partner with Junior Motorsports and Junior? So Roto Rooter getting in on some of that action.
Jumping into some IMSA road racing and Formula One here. Formula One going to be the big one. BMW and the Rahal Letterman Lanigan racing team have announced that they will be splitting at the end of the year. And again, that is for the IMSA team. Rumor is that they might expand their IndyCar operations, maybe venture into other realms of racing, but that is to be determined. But at the end of the year, they will be no longer operating with each other. These next three are all going to kind of coincide with each other, and this all stems from the major breaking F1 news that we got last week. Christian Horner, who has been the team president and CEO for 20 years, has been let go by Red Bull Racing effective immediately. Not exactly a great year for them this year. And it was just time to make a change. So Christian Horner is gone. I'm going to botch this name, but Laurent Meeks moves in to the team principal and CEO spot from his position at the Racing Red Bulls or the Racing Bulls team. And then Alan Permain will move into the Racing Bulls team principal position. So Red Bull shaking up their organization here a little bit.
Quite the roadmap of operations you had going on there, pal.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Yep. Need the map on the wall with the pins and the yarn.
Well, and it might get a little more crazy depending if these rumors about the old Max Verstappen come to fruition as well.
Yikes.
So.
All right. Well, that wraps up news. A little bit of everything. Sponsorship, racetracks, personnel. Quite the little section there. Jumping into our award of the week being the Wheelman of the Week. We've got 2, 4, 6 nominations. So we'll each go through here and rattle off 2. And we'll go ahead and discuss a winner from there. I will take the bottom 2. And Casey Johnson wins Midwest Tour at Hawkeye Downs, as we talked about it. His Midwest Tour average finish in 4 events is 1.5, 2 wins and 2 seconds. Garrett Alberson finds his way back to victory lane with Lucas Oil at 34 Raceway. Very quietly finds himself 5th in the points. In that event, or leading up to that event, he had the most laps led in the series without a win. So he got that monkey off of his back.
Very nice.
So those are my 2 for the week.
For the record, we only got 5.
Oh.
Cam, I'll take the top 2 if that works for you. I think though one of the obvious nominations here, SVG goes 2 in a row with a dominating win at Sonoma, again winning it from the pole. And then maybe another obvious one here for at least a nomination. Ty Majeski gets his 4th Slinger Nationals after leading 137 laps to get himself another nice payday and further cement his legacy status as one of the greats in short track racing.
Then I'll hop in here and take the last one. A name that has had a tough year. If we would have been talking dirt super late models, he would have been in the surprisingly bad year. The old Winfield Warrior, Mikey Marlar, grabs himself a win and throws her up on the high side, get around Bobby Pierce, and win at Sharon. So the Winfield Warrior is on the board, and hopefully that can be the start of get his season at least turned around, if not completely turned around, step in the right direction.
Where you boys going?
Majeski.
Cam?
Go ahead, Joe.
Majeski.
Yeah, I'll go Majeski.
I mean, that's
it was
just
between him or SVG. It was they both dog walked the field.
Yeah.
But
and you just talk
SVG
about the cementing of the legacy with what he's doing with the super late models and that Gearheads program collectively. Like, some people just want to win that race one time. The dude's got 4 of them. Like, I don't know. That's
dude,
Hey,
and
he's
he was
got a
in
chance to win a lot more.
Buddy's what was he 28, 29?
Give or take.
Yeah.
And Buddy was in a different area code this past.
Yeah, correct. So, Ty Majeski, you could call him a local for us. Right out of Seymour. But also a Truck Series guy, getting a Wheelman of the Week for us.
It's running out of gas with 3 laps to go.
Them guys were not happy about that.
Little joke. He was checked out, had the field half lapped, and he came on the radio with 3 laps to go and said he was out of gas. So
the radio was awfully quiet the last 3 laps.
Yeah.
And then there were some words said.
Yep. But yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into just a couple previews. We've published our full schedule. So we've kind of just picked up 1 or 2 that we're kind of keeping an eye on individually. So Cam, will go ahead and kick it to you first.
Yep. Luke Soil back in action here, coming up for a 3-day show at Huset's. Beautiful high banks of Huset's. For the Silver Dollar Nationals this weekend, kicking off on Thursday, July 17th, and then running through Saturday, July 19th. And then the old Wu Gang, the World Outlaws, they are off until PDC, Prairie Dirt Classic.
We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but basically I'm looking at all the sprint cars at Eldora this weekend. High Limit will start it out on Wednesday with their Double Down Duels. Thursday will have their Joker Jackpot, which will be simulcasted both between Flow Racing and FS1. So be sure to tune into that. And then obviously the World Outlaws will finish it off with their before the Knights race on Friday, and then the Kings Royale on Saturday night for a cool $200,000 to win.
I might just have to watch that race on FS1 just to see the difference. It's so hard to go away from Flow, though, because Flow is so damn good.
Yeah, but, the thing is that if it is literally the same broadcast.
And if something goes haywire, I can just go back to Flow.
Yep.
Always got that in your back pocket.
100%.
Couple asphalt races we're keeping an eye on. Thursday night, weekly-ish racing at Wisconsin International Raceway in Kaukauna, Wisconsin, as we call it, WIR. They have the white race of their red, white, and blue series for the super late models. So they got a couple surprises. Ty Majeski, the aforementioned, will be running that one. Casey Johnson. They've got a handful of hammers coming in to win that 3-race series. So guys are working on that. And then on Saturday, the Orange Blossom Special, or the Barnyard to Brickyard, kind of a Rich Bickle honor deal in terms of twin 75-lap features for the super late models. Quite the entry list for that. Majeski will be there as well. And we've always enjoyed their racing. They put on really good shows. Midwest Truck Series. So they make their stop to Jefferson for the year. On Saturday evening.
Real quick note for that super late model race. They are American Racer tires for that one.
Whoa.
So
we're going to put the old boys in a blender.
Yeah, a little quick note on that one.
Got it. All right. Let's go ahead and obviously coming up for the weekend, Dover Cup Series. We always make some race picks. Let's go ahead. Kind of picking orders determined on both our Slinger and Sonoma picks, kind of a combined tally. And luckily for us, that leaves Cam with the first set of picks or the first pick for the day. And we did not even get close to closing the gap. He's got a 99-point lead on Cam, and then I am call it 260 back.
Yeah.
60. Yeah. I won the weekend and I gained 6 points on the guy ahead of me. So here we are. But all right, Cam, we got Dover.
Starting to build a little momentum. Give me the old 2014. Give me William Byron.
That's not bad.
Just called an audible from what I was going to go.
Kyle Busch finished third there last year, fourth.
You're up, Jack, man. Take him.
Nah. Hamlin can't keep a motor in anything right now. I don't love that. He's going to lock himself in this week. Give me Tyler Reddick. Even though they might be racing as open cars. It's funny how all of a sudden the little asterisk for the open car thing on the entry list isn't the thing anymore.
Cam, you said you had Byron, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Give me the old Hamlin.
Whoa! He just looked up last year's results and said, "Oh, you won it."
Yep.
No, decent pick, though.
I was debating going with the old 12 machine because we smashed her up and we finished like shit this past week. So you know what that means.
Gonna have a good one.
We're gonna have a good one this week.
Yeah.
But he's finished well there the last 2 years. So I was debating that, but man, I just can't stomach that roller coaster anymore.
How do you think I feel?
Like being a Badger football fan.
Oh,
For real.
That'll get started here pretty soon too. Get to have that preview of every episode. How's it going? Well, I had to suffer for 3 hours on Saturday. All right. Well, as we get this thing wrapped up, as always, if you can get to your local racetrack, short track, big track, whatever that happens to be for you, if you can get there, make sure to get butts in the seats and support them. It keeps them open. It keeps them bringing in big series. If you're looking for something in particular, that always helps to be able to bring in somebody who could be your superstar. So be sure to get out to your tracks. The full schedule is posted on our social media. So if you're looking for all of the races that we're keeping an eye on or any series in particular, we've got you covered there. But as always, don't be afraid to share with your racing friends. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week on another edition of the Tuesday Track Talk.